Good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Let me check who is there. Okay, Mansa is there. Kulkarni sir is there. Okay, two of you. Fine. Any doubt? Have you gone through the PPTs that are shared?
Yes, ma'am. I read through briefly last week the PPTs that you shared.
Okay,
No doubts as such, ma'am, but a lot to reflect on and to continue further reading, ma'am.
sure. Right. So the screen is shared.
Yes, ma'am.
I have got your screen sharing is paused. I hope you can see that.
I can see the first slide of the PPT, ma'am.
Yeah, module 4, right?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. Module 4.
okay, fine. Let us start. So
Okay,
this is
ma'am.
the module 4 and module 4 and 5 are on research design. So module 4 research design 1, module 5 research design 2. This design is about qualitative research. Next design is about quantitative research. Now, before going to the qualitative research, which we have briefly touched in the types of research, before that, as the topic says, or as the title says of the module, research design, let us start with the concept of design. So design, its meaning, nature, need, features, and types of research that we are going to visit. Okay, so can you tell me what do you mean by design, designing, and why designing is done? What kind of designing you have done till now? When you go to a tailor or when you go for ready-made purchase of any clothes or like that, you think of a particular design, right? Yeah, Ganesh Ram sir.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Oh,
Yeah.
design is the desired output of a product or a service that we want. And
Output.
designing is the process by which we achieve.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else?
Designing also can be like coming up with like a wireframe or a framework or like a blueprint of what you want to see, the actual prototype of something.
Okay, prototype, right. Anyone else?
So, ma'am, designing or design is it's a concept. Uh, it's
Okay.
it's it's something that one mentally imagines, or somebody who's a thinking agent will think about a concept or a proposal and then give a shape to it. It could be in form of a document, it could be in form of an actual art or a graphic, or it could be anything. But I think design is conceptually, I mean, rather it's a concept which is thought to achieve a particular goal.
Yes. Right, great. Okay, so same way, we do the designing so that some rough draft, a blueprint is in our mind regarding what we want as the final shape. And from that rough idea to that final product, we process, that is the use of it and the objective of it. The same meaning we can put for the research design. So when you wish to do any research, a rough idea comes into your mind regarding what kind of research you are going to do. So it is, as simple terms are there, which are below at the end of the slide. It's a blueprint for fulfilling objectives and answering research questions. Research questions, last time I have told that there is a difference between research problem and research questions. Details we will see in unit number 5 next Sunday. But research questions are 5W1H questions. For example, if you are doing the project on TNA, training need analysis, then you will have 5W1H questions like what is meant by TNA? What are different methods of doing TNA? What are the objectives behind doing TNA? What research methodologies are used for doing TNA? So these are secondary database questions. Then primary data you need to collect. So you ask questions, to what extent or how much TNA is used by the companies. You may take in general the concept of a company, or you may say in MNCs, in IT companies, or in manufacturing companies, or in middle or SMEs. To what extent TNA is done for identifying the needs, what methodologies the companies may be using for identifying the TNA, and all that. So these are the research questions, 5W1H questions. When you have these list of questions, obviously you are to seek the answers, correct? So for seeking these answers, you need to decide whether I will use survey method, whether I will do the interview of the training head. If there is no training head, only HR head, then interview of HR head. If the topic is training effectiveness, so shall I do the survey? Shall I do the questionnaire for the survey, and what kind of sections I will have? So like this, your research questions lead you to how you are going to conduct the research. The answer to this how is the research design. So in the right side, you may find it is an activity. It is a time-based plan. It is a plan based on research questions. It is a guide for selecting sources and type of information. It's a framework for establishing the relationship between or amongst the variables. So it leads you for the procedure. Other definitions are definitely there on this slide. But mainly, research design helps you to go towards the objective, and the research journey is decided. Let us go ahead. So why? Just now we have seen, but as the syllabus says, need, importance, advantages, necessity. So in advance, when you have a blueprint, when you have a rough sketch of what you are going to do, how you are going to proceed, it saves your time, it saves your cost. And it enables you to resource planning. So when you decide to use interview method, you decide whose interview, what level of interviews, so how much time it will take. Then how am I to find out these sources, which people I need to contact. For this, what budget I need to keep regarding time and cost. If I'm using observation method, then whether my sample organization will allow me to attend the training programs for checking the effectiveness. Or if yours is TNA and it is based on interviews and many other things, but you need to go through the documents of TNA. If the company says, yes, we do TNA, then you need to know how the TNA is done. So you need their secondary data. So whether you will have access to the secondary data. If the company is very unknown, it may be difficult. Then what contacts you are going to use, or you would be doing it for your company only. So it enables resource planning. Your project time schedule you can make. and it directs you systematically in the execution of process, and it reduces inaccuracy. Sometimes when your blueprint or research design is not clear in the mind, it may happen that much of your time, cost, resources are a waste. It facilitates documentation while in process, so you go on doing the writing of the project, overview of the research process, and guides in the right direction. When you have this blueprint or research design, it doesn't mean that you can't make any changes once you decide. As you proceed in the journey of research, many times it happens that you may not have thought, you may not have imagined such sources are available. But when your rough design is there, then you can make small changes in that. So this blueprint gives you the confidence that you are on the right track and increases your efficiency and the reliability of your research. When you go to any shop and just your rough idea is any kind of shopping, then it is confusing many times, or leisurely you can do that. But when you have a specific thing to be purchased in mind, size, shape, color, dimensions, quality, and all that, your purchasing becomes more focused and useful. The same applies in research. Now let us see the types of research. Just a minute, I will reduce the font size. Yeah. So research design, we have understood. Let us understand now the types of research design. There are many types of research design, but very precise, focused, I have brought here, so that conceptually there shouldn't be any confusion. First category is exploratory research or formulative research design. Now the word exploratory is self-explanatory. You may be remembering deductive and inductive research. So when you have the opportunity to go into deep and explore and get the insights, you do exploratory research. Your research, any management research, and our training and development is a part of management. So that research is exploratory too. So now how this exploratory research is done? You can explore the secondary data. When you explore secondary data, that means you read the matter in the books, research papers, encyclopedias, indexes, and n number of other material, printed or otherwise, and you analyze that, go into the deep. You start from the concept to context and go to the application and understand the challenges. You are doing the search of secondary data, and it is called as qualitative research design under exploratory. I hope your eyes are on the slide so that you won't be confused. So under any kind of research, your research can be primary and secondary. By now, right from the first session, we are discussing what is primary and secondary. Primary is one which you collect. No one on earth has collected that. So your own, that is primary. And secondary means someone else or many others have collected it and it is readily available. That is secondary. Correct? Secondary and primary sources. They can be qualitative also, quantitative also. We have seen qualitative, quantitative in the first session and also in the second session. But side by side, we are going to revise. So we are talking about exploratory research design, where we go deeper and deeper. So first way was search of secondary data and understanding deeperly. Second is survey of knowledgeable persons. Who can we call as knowledgeable persons in research? Can anyone tell me? Who can we call knowledgeable persons as far as research is concerned?
Probably this will go back to the skill sets or the subject matter expertise in the field of research, ma'am. Very generic answer, but
Okay, okay. Any other guess?
So people who are aware of the subject, they might not be an expert, or they are aware of the subject matter, and you might want to, as somebody getting into research, talk to them to figure out what it is all about, or what they are aware of, or what path can be explored.
Okay.
Experts are there, that is one part. I mean, experts who have done research, who have written books, who know a lot about it.
Oh, okay.
But there could be somebody who doesn't know much, or rather is not a expert in terms of having a doctorate or somebody, but has more than enough information to guide you start with what you want. Could also
Okay.
be expert or
Okay. Any other guess? Okay. Now suppose I'm doing the research on motivation for having more education by the professionals. Study of the motivation from the point of view of professionals regarding further studies. Some different words can be used in the title. Now, as you are professionals, I have taken you as a sample. Okay. Now you are my sample, so you are experts. Simple. You may not have done research so far, doesn't matter. You are in the particular concept that is further studies by professionals. So when I'm taking you as a sample, you are my experts. If I'm doing any research on the productivity and the behavioral skills in efficiency and effectiveness related to that, a topic is there, and my sample is manufacturing sectors and its workers. My topic is regarding productivity, behavioral aspects in productivity that leads to efficiency and effectiveness. So though my topic is very heavy, I know what is productivity, I know what is efficiency and effectiveness. I am a researcher, I have studied. Conceptually, I am expert than those workers, but for me, who are the experts? My sample, that is workers. Correct? If I am doing any research on the PWD workers who work on the roads, and the topic may be the safety issues. Those workers may not be educated at all. They may be illiterate, but they are working and they are my sample because they are PWD, Public Works Department's Mazdoor. So they are experts, correct? So we are talking about second point, survey of knowledgeable persons. So these are the knowledgeable persons because they have the knowledge in that particular area of research. Matlab concept of research. And therefore we call them knowledgeable persons and experts. But this is not enough. So when I'm doing, suppose attrition in IT industry is my topic. And for interviews, I need really knowledgeable persons That means the HR managers and functional managers who are experiencing and making efforts to reduce the attrition. So knowledgeable persons, there are real experts, but for this attrition topic again, I am conducting survey. So 200 managers of IT company or 200 entrants at IT company who have completed 1 year. Now they are comparatively raw, but they are knowledgeable persons, correct? So both way, the term experts or knowledgeable persons is used. So what we were talking, we want to suppose explore, we want to gain ideas and insights. There are 3 ways: search of secondary data, that is qualitative research; survey of knowledgeable persons, that is quantitative research. Now here, I forgot to put interviews and observation. While sending the PPTs, I will put that. So here for exploration, the interview method and observation method will also be used. So that will be qualitative research. And the third that is written here is case study. When you do the study of only Infosys or any other company, your sample company is only one, where you do survey method also, interview also, observation also. When the unit is one, it is called as a case study. So it can be qualitative, it can be quantitative. So this was exploratory research. Now second type is conclusive research. Under that, there are 2 types. One is descriptive research, which also is called as diagnostic research. When you say descriptive, remember it is the number. So emphasis is on determining how many, the frequency with which something happens. So it can be again case study, it can be survey, it can be observation, any method, but the focus is on the number. Now, when you do any research for your project, maybe training effectiveness or TNA or training design or training evaluation, these are generally the 4 areas out of which you need to select one. Whatever topic you select, yours is a combination of descriptive and exploratory, by and large. Why? Because initially you collect some demographic information, name, age, number of years service, male, female, then some other details which are in number. So some portion, 10% portion of your survey questionnaire is descriptive. But if your whole questionnaire is about knowing how many, who, what, where, you can see that in blue below. Who, what, where, when, how much. क्या हुआ, कब हुआ, कैसे हुआ, कौन कौन था. Descriptive design. Correct? Now the second one under conclusive. Causal research. Remember, it is not casual, because in the recent exam, when I checked the papers, I found in the one paper, it was written casual research and explained 1 page. It is not at all casual, it is causal. You will remember cause and effect relationship. We do research for establishing this cause and effect relationship because this effect is our research problem. We have seen in the first session, we do research when there is a problem, there is an issue, there is a challenge. Negative ways. Positive ways, there are opportunities, or you don't know what opportunities are there, but you are to find out. Or you have concern, you have the curiosity. So positive aspects are curiosity and opportunity. Problematic are problems, issues, concerns, and challenges. So all these are the effects, and you are to find out the causes, and from that you come to the suggestions and decision making. So that is called as causal research. It is done through experimentation and simulation, but our research also fits the causal research because we establish the cause and effect relationship through our A category exploratory research. Okay. This is a slide on, just adjust it. Check whether you can read. So exploratory and descriptive. I repeat, exploratory means you are to go into deep and find out, understand the insights and ideas. And descriptive is you want to know who, when, what, and all, mostly in number. So just go through.
Bit heavy, ma'am.
Pardon? Yeah, it is heavy. Therefore, I'm not going to send it to you today to you. But sometimes some are curious to know more.
Yes, yes, of
Therefore,
course. Yes.
the objective is not to boggle you with more and more information, but just to give you the exposure on this.
Yes, yes. Very useful, but yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, shall I go ahead? So our qualitative research. By now, many of you who have attended consistently or have gone through the PPTs now know that qualitative research is the research which is done with the help of the research methods or the data which is collected through qualitative methods. The objective obviously is to gain more understanding in the attitudes, beliefs, motivation, and going into the deep. Right? So exploratory research, you need to use qualitative research methods. Right? So qualitative research, or in any kind of research design, secondary data, primary data, both obviously comes. So let us see the primary data sources for qualitative research. By now it is learned by heart by you maybe. So interviews and observations. We know only two methods are there in the world. But these days it is a practice to call focus group discussions, or popularly they are known as FGDs. Actually, FGDs are interviews only, focus group interviews. But these days, it is a practice to call it separately. So instead of just interviews, they say in-depth interviews. And for group interviews, they call focus group interviews separately and then observation. But in fact, Only two methods. So when you have the opportunity to go deeper, then it is qualitative research, and primary data methods are three. Now you can go deep, do qualitative research by secondary data method also. So whose data? Data of organizations or institutes about which you want to know more. Then the texts, that is books, research papers, articles, news, and number of things. Then settings and environments, and objects, artifacts, and all that. You must have observed that wherever you work, your company layout, your company's gardens layout, the type of the structure, the type of the buildings, the type of the furniture used, the type of the artifacts used, especially at the reception, at the boardrooms, talk something. They talk about the culture. The simple observation you may obviously have done that the artifacts, the furniture, the layout of all this at your home is different, right? A teacher's home looks different. A builder's home looks different. A businessman's home looks different. Why? Because the settings, environments, objects, artifacts, many things talk the culture in the particular premises. I'm not talking about any good or bad, but when you want to do any study, say regarding the company culture or the environment or some other related topics, then when you do all these, now here method is again observation, right? But so when you are observing all this, that is this bullet number 2 and 3 and 4, sorry, 3, 4 and 5. When you are observing it and noting down your observations, it goes into the primary data. But if you are getting the information, data, and details about all this, and you are going to analyze, it is secondary data. Have I talked clearly, or shall I repeat? I'm talking about bullet number 3, 4, and 5. Your topic is maybe about the organizational culture, some behavioral and other aspects and policies and everything you are going to do, definitely. But right now what your focus is? Settings, environments, objects, artifacts, events, happenings, etc. at the organization. And as a researcher, you are recording your observations and thoughts, what all these 3, 4, 5 are communicating. So on 3, 4, 5, you are using observation method as primary data because you are recording your observations. Now same 3, 4, 5, you are recording how many? How, what kind of? For what? What is the layout of the boardroom? What is the quality of furniture of boardroom? What photos are put on the boardroom? How many are they? What other kind of information is available in the boardroom? So all this what, when, where you are analyzing, that means you are analyzing secondary data on 3, 4, 5. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So we are talking about qualitative research, which can be done through interviews, observations, and secondary data analysis. when we talk of qualitative research related secondary data, what more can be there? Some details are here. So textual data, some notes, some diaries, some articles, some memos, messages, and n number of things. And when we talk of audios, all the kind of recordings, speeches, interviews, radio broadcasts, music, and n number of talks and all that. And many researchers, for making their research methodology strong, try to tap the maximum sources for their analysis. And visual, obviously, television, cinema, paintings, sculptures, and a number of other things. Okay. This actually will go for 5th unit, but sample by now you know. For qualitative research, sample is very, very less. For quantitative research, sample is bigger. You can't take 100 interviews or 300 interviews. Your interviews are generally limited. 2-3 interviews, 4-5 interviews. Focus group discussions, 2-3 FGDs, 1 or 2 FGDs, or 4-5-6 FGDs. So your sample is less in qualitative research. Only qualitative research is not used broadly in management. The reason is that it has a number of drawbacks. We will see those drawbacks. Whatever slides I have just was running through, the reason is that it is very, very higher level, complicated. So I don't want to trouble you at this moment. I have made a simple slide out of all these 5-6 slides, which we will see at the end. The limitations or challenges in using qualitative research. This qualitative, quantitative we have already done. You can revisit in the notes of 1st unit. Now, for qualitative research, what kind of sampling is done? Sampling right now we have seen it is the number. On sampling, its types and all that detailed we have in 5th unit. Because sampling issue and systematic statistical calculations for sampling has to occur when we are collecting quantitative data. How much? Why 300? What is the global number? All such questions are there. So we will see that in 5th unit. But in qualitative research also, though 4 interviews, 5 FGDs, observation of so and so number, when we say, so how many number, it is called as sampling. In qualitative sampling, non-probability sampling is used. What is probability and non-probability? We will see in 5th unit. So you may remember this word or you just forget this word. 3 methods are there. I will start with the second one. Simple to understand. Snowball sampling. Snowball sampling means, suppose I want to do, as I have said, suppose research on the motivation behind the professionals for doing further studies. Now, whose sample I will take? Now, you can see on the slide number 3, convenience sampling. For me, who are convenient for me? You people. Because I know you. So, I will take ISTD professionals, ISTD students who themselves are professionals and doing the further study. So for my qualitative research, I will take you as convenience sampling. But now, for my subject, there are 6 to 10. Okay. And I want to conduct 3 FGDs. And in each FGD, I want around 6 people. So today, suppose The present are 6. Okay. I want more. I will use the second method, snowball sampling. I will ask you to give me the references who are doing some courses, must not be ISTD course, but who are doing, suppose, anyone from your colleagues or any number from your colleagues and bosses or team members who are doing, suppose, MBA or any PhD or any SPSS course or any data mining related course, data analytics course, whatever, or any IIM short and big long courses. I will ask you to give me the references. From them, I will get more further references. This is snowball sampling. So easier to understand is convenience sampling and snowball sampling. Now let us go to the first one, purposive sampling. Choosing participants arbitrarily for their unique characteristics on their experience, attitude, perception, etc. Just now, yesterday, we have completed one TNA big project for Police of Maharashtra. So we conducted individual interviews, 5-6 FGDs, and a big survey. For this, what was our purposive sampling? We have not used any snowball sampling or convenience sampling. We have used purposive sampling. So what kind of purposive sampling it was? A specific category of police officers who are devoted to a particular function. Purposive sampling. Arbitrarily for their unique characteristics, specific experience, and all that. When I am talking about number 1, bullet number 1. So I have talked about specific experience. Now I will talk about attitude. Okay. I conducted personal interviews for my another consultancy. It was relating to a mall and some behavioral issues of the employees. And for that, I asked the owners of the mall, who were MDs and all that, directors, to give me the people in 3 categories. Number 1, very negative people. Number 2, positive people. And number 3, except positive, except negative, the normal employees. Obviously, the normal employees chunk was bigger. Suppose it is total number is 100, negative were 10, positive were 10, normal were 80. So I personally interviewed negative, personally interviewed positive. While doing that, for 2-3 individual in-depth interview, I brought that time I was teaching in the college. So my business administration's 2 students with me. So when the negative interviews were going on, they were with me. When positive were going on, they were with me. Set of semi-structured interview questions were in hand. How I am recording the answers by hand, because audio recording, video recording, not at all justified because people won't talk. So those students observed and learned how to do that. And majority of 80 interviews they conducted. So this was relating to attitude and perceptions and the unique characteristics like positive, negative, and normal that was used. Second bullet, conceptual or theoretical categories of participants developed during interviewing process. Sometimes it happens that your group interviews are going on, FGDs you conduct, And in FGDs, you identify one or two people who you feel want to talk more, but they are not talking in FGD. So afterwards, you are to interview them in detail individually. So this is bullet number 2. Number 3, researchers seek new participants to challenge the emerging patterns. So you design, so like I have designed positive, negative minded, normal people. Then in the process, whatever answers come and more insights are received, you think of interviewing some other people. So when I had interviews the negative and positive people and few normal people, the employees of mall, I understood that there is Mr. X, who is the right hand of the Malik, that is of the main of that mall, and people want to say a number of things about him. Then I interviewed that key person also. So researchers, bullet number 3, researchers seek new participants to challenge the emerging pattern. Clear? What we are studying? Qualitative research sampling method. Okay? You can use for your project. You can use convenience sampling, snowball sampling, or if you are doing research for your company's challenges and many other things, you may use purposive sampling. Even for other organization also, you may use purposive sampling. Okay. Now, individual interviews and group interviews. This may be much. Let us talk about group interviews first. Individual interviews are easy for understanding. So, what are the types of groups? As per the size, triads, you may be knowing. When only two people in the group, it is called triads, 3 people, mini group 2 to 6 people, small group 6 to 10 people, and super groups up to 20 people. When you are talking about super groups, then obviously you get more kind of a quantitative data, but you may not go into the deeper insights you may not get. But still, why super groups are used? You may get some indicators, broad idea, and from that macro, you go to micro. You can identify out of 20, you can identify 5, 6 whose FGD needs to be conducted, small group or a mini group. Okay, so this was as per number. Now, as per group composition, it can be homogeneous group, it can be heterogeneous group. Only team members are there, but their leaders are not in the group. Then homogeneous, heterogeneous, team members and their boss, or cross-functional team members, any kind of heterogeneous. Other interviews, experts interviews, non-experts interviews. So, as focus group, that is group interview, as we say, is these days more popularly known. Let us see it. So 6 to 10 participants led by a trained moderator. For FGD, unless and until you have the 2 kind of expertism, may not be higher level expertism, but medium level expertism is must. What are these 2 levels? Number 1, the topic on which you are going to conduct the focus group. The intricacies, subtleties you must be knowing. And second, very important, the knowledge of behavioral science. Because you need to observe their body language, when they keep quiet, how to read the silence, how to understand the silence, then how to make them speak, when to stop them, how to understand that they are superficially talking. They are not talking about the reality. So that sensing you must have, and therefore a trained moderator or interviewer is essential. It may go from, though it is written 90 minutes, generally 60 to 120 minutes. That is around 1 hour to 2 hours, because you are to go into deep in focus group. So it is exchange of ideas, feelings, experiences. Generally, initially, some ice-breaking questions or ice-breaking discussion should take place. And again, from macro to micro, you are to go in the deeper way. Now, this is generally what FGD is. That means, suppose I'm conducting FGD of yours. Topic is the same. What motivates you to take this further education? So I won't start asking you the same question. What are your motivations behind, or why you have joined this iStudy course? Why not other course? Or when you are doing well in life, what is the need? I won't directly touch that. Broadly, I will ask about the life, your concept of growth, your concept of development. Simply, I will ask the first question, how is life going? Now, you may not talk on that because it is a very abstract question, qualitative question. So I will say, I suppose with your experience of 15 to 30 years, you must be settled now in life. Now is the phase of enjoying the efforts you have made. So is your life enjoyable? What enjoyment is there in your life? So simple, light questions may be asked, and then going into the deeper, and then sometimes asking some tricky questions. Really, will there be a use and career growth immediately after doing this diploma? Would they be giving you any help in your next jobs and all that? So I may trouble also you. Some negative oriented questions I may ask, so that the reality also may come out. This is the way focus group goes. I will give one example. For Tata Motors, one of their other units, which was the Tata Motors social unit called Tata Gruhin, under which there are 4 sections, and for them the TNA I had done. Their objective was the total turnaround strategies, financial, marketing, HR, organization structure, everything they wanted to change. And I was the consultant. So I used the FGDs, individual interviews, and obviously survey. In FGDs, there was a group of ladies, and I had given, as a research methodology, I have done shop floor visits also. I wanted to know the process of their work, definitely, but I wanted to observe the dynamics also, behavioral dynamics also. So after that, FGD. So around 7, 8 lady employees came and sat in the FGD room. And then started, how are you feeling? Lunch हुआ क्या? क्या time होता है lunch का? So is there any tea break time? How do you feel being here? तो सब लोग positive. No, my 7-8 questions, but no one was ready to open the mouth. Then I asked, does it happen any day that आपको ऐसा लगता है कि सब काम छोड़ के भाग जाओ कहीं? Now, like a storm, they opened up. One said that just now I climbed the stairs and came here. Still, I'm having high palpitation and I'm in tears. Just now I'm insulted by my boss and I really felt like suicide, running away from here. Now that FGD went on for 1.5 hours more. This is what FGD is. Now, why I have stopped our discussion and I have not taken you to the next points, last black bullet and then 3 arrows. Sometimes beyond these question answers and discussions and going into deeper, certain activities are also conducted if it is psychology based more and all that. Some people, some psychologists, some consultants all use this. For example, some small test, word related test, pre-association. What words come to your mind when you think of X? That means what words come to your mind when you think of a boss? When you think of your company? Tell just 5 words that come to your mind. Then some pictures are shown and they are asked to talk on what they feel about those pictures. Or a number of pictures are given there and they are asked to sort them according to some common parameters. So photo sort or picture sort and all that is done. Another way, though not written here, called it Puri's department. The normal FGDs that we have talked about before, first 5 bullets, black bullets, that was done. But another kind of FGD was also conducted on around 4 batches. Specific duty related police officers had come for training at a particular training center. So their 3 days or 5 days training was going on and we were given half a day out of that. Now the batch was around 30 to 40 people. So obviously FGD of all these was not possible. So we bifurcated them by conducting some activity relating to their work related concepts. So we divided them in 3 groups and took there in 3 different rooms and there we conducted FGD regarding work related case. So we gave them the case and they were to list down certain answers and then coming back in the main room and presenting. Now, we were skeptical as they were not knowing us. They were not exposed to this kind of research happens. What I suggested, let us conduct some games. So I conducted one game on communication on all of them taken together. Some fun game, obviously learning was there, but learning through that game was not the objective there for that particular activity, but being or jailing with us. So around 20 minutes game was conducted. Then we came back to the main room. Then 3 groups were made as per a particular issue. that issues three different aspects. So one group sat there, two groups went to two other rooms, and they discussed that particular case, jotted down their answers, came back. That was also a nature of focus group interview. Got it? Yes. Okay. So under which conditions FGDs are valuable? When you want to get generic background information through their police departments for FGDs. 4 times we did that. When 4 different batches had come, we conducted same kind of FGD. It wasn't deep focused, but what happened? We got exposure to that police department's specialized work. Otherwise, we obviously were not having any idea regarding that work. But through those FGDs, we got to know about that. So general background on the topic or the issue. Because the concept related 3 cases, through that also our knowledge increased and we got general information, general background about it. Generating research questions to be explored via quantitative methodologies. It should be qualitative methodologies. The meaning is that, suppose you want to do the research on a particular topic for an issue in your company. You feel that it is an issue and you want to do the research, but you are not sure whether you should invest this good amount of time and money and your major intelligence, because your focus will be on research only, whether you should invest all this or not. Whether the results will be really helpful and value added. So what do? You conduct small interviews. It is not deeper interview. You just talk to few expert people. Expert people means, suppose, again, same example, training effectiveness. You have a feeling that training is not being effective in spite of all TNA and all that. So what do? You talk to, suppose, marketing head. You are, suppose, HR head. You talk to few functional heads. You talk about training. You talk about attrition. You talk about conflicts. You talk about the culture at the workplace. General information you got, and you then decide whether to go further or not. Then interpreting previously obtained qualitative results. So just go through the list. If you want any further discussion, let me know. Clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I go ahead? Yeah, someone was talking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So advantages. Through focus group discussion only you get synergy. Synergy is 1 + 1 is equal to Through survey you get 1 + 1 is equal to 2.
11, ma'am.
Yeah, 11. So many dynamics come in the unexpected information comes up, deep insights you get different ideas. So synergy regarding ideas, accumulation, insights, information happens. So ideas get developed to the fullest. From one reference to another reference, from one question to another question. Generally, whenever you do FGD or interviews, individual interviews, the questions that are set is called as structured interview questions or unstructured interview questions or semi-structured interview questions. Structured means your typical set questions are ready and you don't ask anything beyond that. Sometimes the experts that you have selected for interview, they say that you send me the questions. I will send you the answers. So this is typically structured interviews. Unstructured means no specific questions are there. You highly depend on what emerges. The best way is semi-structured interviews. So 4 or 5 questions are there and other questions emerge through the answers of the previous questions. So snowballing. Then stimulation, respondents express, go on expressing. They may not have imagined that they will explore, they will express, but it happens. Security, comfort, it is obviously your responsibility as a researcher or moderator to create that atmosphere of safety, comfort, that the data will be used, all the information will be used for academic purpose only, and you are not interested in their names and all that. So highly specialized interviewer moderators are many times required. Scrutiny you can do in detail. More control than individual interview because I'm talking about the last but one, structure. Individual interview, people are more conscious and cautious. In group interviews, comparatively, they are free. And speed, more quickly you can finish the interviews. So what may be the shortcomings? Any shortcomings of individual interview or focus group interview as a method? Yes.
See, individually, probably the focus of the interview would be more. In a group, it gets a bit diluted. I mean, that's something which I've
Yeah,
experienced.
right.
Probably that could be one shortcoming.
Right. It will definitely get diluted. But when to use individual, when to use focused, when you are having experts' opinion in detail, when your study halfway is already done and you have developed few insights and you are to dig deeper, then you are to take individual interviews. In the initial stage, to get broader ideas and your journey towards insight, that time you are to take FGDs.
Okay,
right?
got it.
Yeah. When you generally a calm, quiet place where people can comfortably sit either in a circle or in a classroom manner, but maybe semicircle, that for physical FGDs, this is the venue. Sometimes on telephone, online, video conferencing, FGDs are conducted, but obviously physical are more beneficial because you can clearly watch the body language, facial expressions, gestures, postures, and all that. And telephonic interviews are such or focus groups are such where only information you want to seek. Beyond that, you don't want to go deeper, right?
Got it.
When there are very expert people who want to share or whose answers you want on your findings, that this has happened, and what is your take on that? Or in this situation, in this kind of situation, what strategies you had done and what strategies you think of doing. Such interviews I have conducted for the police department at the end of our project. Yes, someone wanted to say something. Okay. So composing appropriate questions, focus on the title. First, write the objectives, write hypothesis if necessary, otherwise forget about it. If it is academic research, if it is project related research, then you need to write the hypothesis, otherwise you may not, but focus on that. Think of 5W1H question, when, what, how, but majorly how. The question should be more open-ended, very less closed-ended in individual interview and focus group interview. In survey, majority questions are closed-ended where people are to take. Projective techniques, we are going to study projective techniques in the next session, though it is the coverage of today's content. Anyone knows what projective technique is? Okay, some examples are given below. Projective technique. Word association, sentence completion, third person techniques, role playing. These are various methods by which you come to know the broader areas which you are studying. For example, once when I was conducting batches and batches in Bajaj Tempo, now the name is Force Motors. That time, for their performance appraisal, what they did, there was one manager's batch on whose appraisal was being done through variety of methods. They asked me to conduct some games on them. And the team of 3 people was sitting just for observation. And in that, games were used, case study, and in that role play was used. And they were observing and noting down their observations regarding whatever leadership qualities, team building qualities, and some other competencies. Projective technique. Okay. We will deeply see the projective technique afterwards. So, whatever kind of interview, macro to micro. Now, observation method. So, observation method for monitoring behavioral, non-behavioral activities and conditions. So, on behavioral, non-verbal behavior, body movements, expressions, glances, linguistic behavior, words that are used, sounds that are used, how much information, whether they hold back or give, how interaction takes place. Then extra linguistic behavior regarding the pitch, the loudness and all that. The rate of speaking, duration, n number of things are observed. And as you can understand, the observer must be the expert in, if it is the non-verbal, expert in understanding the language of communication beyond words. So postures, gestures, glances, silence, body movements, n number of things. And regarding linguistic behavior, sounds and all that, expert is essential for recording all that. Non-behavioral observations. So it is broadly the secondary database. This was primary database because you are actually observing. Here you are observing the secondary data, the records and n number of things. Okay. And the third category of different types, direct observations. Observer physically is present and personally is observing. Indirect observation through the photographs, through electronic media, through whatever. Indirect observations are made. The observers must be, when you are observing behaviors, behavioral science, you must understand, you must have a study on that. And if you are observing, suppose a particular type of methodology of work, you must critically analyze the process of work. So you should have expert analyzer in that particular process. Like Taylor has done, F.W. Taylor, the first father of scientific management. He has observed the work, time study, motion study, fatigue study, and n number of things. Fourth category, participant observation, non-participant observation, observer. Participant means you are part of them. Non-participant, you are not seen by them. Like F.W. Taylor, he used to sit at a place where he would see all the workers working, their movements, everything, but no one would be able to see him. And here, C category, partial concealment. And simple observation, systematical observation. Systematic, obviously, you are to go into the deep and you want to know more and more information. And simple observation, just to explore. First, you do this simple observation. From that, you list down the variables, then make detailed chart of that, and then you do the systematic observation. Okay, this is just for not that important. Now, I was talking about the limitations or criticism on qualitative research. By now, you must be knowing that it is the observer, it is the interviewer whose personal biases, preconditioning, perceptions, maturity makes or mar the findings and observations and decisions. So qualitative data are always subject to the bias, feelings, loyalties, and all that. So human errors in data collection, in designing, and its interpretation, human errors are possible. Provides unstable foundation for expensive and critical business decisions. And therefore, always there is a mixed method. Survey method is quantitative, statistically can be analyzed, and for going deeper, few interviews and FGDs and observations may be conducted. Results of qualitative study can't be generalized, but if you don't know the name Elton Mayo, anyone knows the name? Elton Mayo or Mayo? M-A-Y-O. Anyone knows? Anyone who has done MBA? Okay. Elton Mayo, you read from Google, Hawthorne experiment. And he has conducted thousands of interviews. He has conducted 4 types of experiments. And he came to the conclusion that social need of a human being, of an employee, is very paramount while performance is concerned. Because the thinkers before him, F.W. Taylor, those who don't know, read about him also. F.W. Taylor was the first in the chain, father of scientific management. He collected the data and proved that there must be system for increasing efficiency and all that. There must be science. There should be the methods. So method study, fatigue study, and n number of studies were made and systems were set. But he was criticized, saying that man is not an economic man only. So more work and more pay was Taylor had propagated. So he was criticized. So on him, Fayol worked. Fayol's limitations, next person worked. So first worked on systems and money, second worked on principles, third worked on some industrial psychology. And this Elton Mayo thought, all this is right, but what about people working together? Because whenever people work, they are together. What is the impact of this being together? So sociology came, industrial sociology. So read about Hawthorne experiment. It is very interesting. And he conducted thousands of interviews and experiments on working conditions on 4 different groups in different manner. And he came to the conclusion that when your social group or the socialism or your relations in your working group are good, even though there are some problems in working conditions, that doesn't affect the productivity. So working conditions on one of his experiments, working conditions were deprived of from them. So on the light, very dim light, some deep light, and many other experiments were made. But there was no effect on the productivity of those groups. Why? Because they were getting along very well with each other. So like this, now if you make mistakes in conceptually understanding different methods, if you don't have maturity regarding what is perception, what is reality, if you can't keep your biases aside, meaning that if your personality is very subjective, you as a researcher will prove weaker and your findings will be weak. And based on findings, always decisions are taken. So decisions will go wrong and it will prove expensive on all the aspects for the organization. So these are the weakness points in technical terms. I will send this to you. You go through that. If the language is heavy, let me know next time. Okay. This we will see combination, that is mixed methodology, qualitative and quantitative. Once we finish quantitative next time. Okay. Ethnography also, I will talk about that next time. Okay, so by and large, yes, today's content is over. Only the one concept is remaining. I have touched that, but not taken in detail. What was that? Yes, projective techniques. In detail, we will see next time. By now, any doubt? Now, as only one session of mine is remaining, and as you need to do a project, has anyone started on the project? Because ISTD projects expect that it is like academic projects. Academic projects in the sense all research terminologies must be used. So what kind of research methodology you have used, qualitative, quantitative? If you say we have done survey, then what you are to describe your questionnaire. If you say interviews were conducted, you are to say whether it was structured, semi-structured or unstructured, what kind of questions you had done, what kind of secondary data you have used, what kind of literature review you have done, what is the research gap. All such terminologies you are to use. So what I will suggest, even though you may not have thought about your project, think about it within a week and ask me the questions next time, if you have any, or any curiosity regarding the project. Right?
Sure, ma'am. Yes, we will do that, ma'am.
Yeah, right.
That's great. Thank you.
Obviously, for next 5 sessions after my 5, there is a content on research papers and many others. So that faculty definitely will help out in your questions. But if you want to ask me any specific regarding my contents, you definitely can ask. Okay. So, shall we close?
Yes, ma'am. Useful session. Thank you so much.
Pardon?
Nice session, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Bye.
Bye.